What's going on, everyone? It is one day before our next outing at Colorado National Speedway, and we've just gotten our new valve shims in the mail, and we're gonna go ahead and throw these on underneath the valve cover and then load up our car for the trailer so that we can head out to the track.
Never stop, I'll get it if I want it. Gotta make to myself a promise. I won't quit, keep going till I got it. I won't give up till I'm on top.
Yo, no, I ain't the type to give up. If I do something, man, I do it till I get what I want. I turn a business out of nothing into something I love. I got a poker face, but honestly, I'm not one to bluff. I flip a switch, never miss, man, I always stay up. Don't let them see you, bitch, always have a plan to stay tough. This life ahead of you ain't easy, it was built to be rough. But that's what makes a personality, is tragedy, bruh. So keep your head on your shoulders. Now we ain't out here moving rocks, we out here moving boulders. Now we ain't getting posterized, we out here making posters. And we ain't got nothing to hide, we move forward like soldiers. You better wake up for the pay stub or you'll pay up. Don't make love to the game, bruh, fuck the game up. Change up, rearrange stuff to your greatness. Famous for the way up, play the game, bruh.
Never stop, I'll get it if I want it. Gotta make to myself a promise. I won't quit, keep going till I got it. I won't give up till I'm on top, yeah.
You know I'm always honest.
And just like that, we were able to finish up changing out those shims and fixing our valve lash. We are now within the spec that we were reaching for, between 7 and 8 thousandths. We did actually already have a 3mm and a 3.05mm shim, so we could have actually saved a couple bucks there, but I wanted to play it safe and just throw in some new ones anyway. This is something ideally that you want to check before your season even starts, but we didn't have our valve retaining tool up until about a month or so ago, so we didn't really have the option to do that. I didn't have anything to pull the old shims out and check them. We did check our valve lash before, but like I said, there was not really a whole lot we can do. So now we're gonna go ahead and get the motor closed up real quick, just get the valve cover back on, and then start it up, check our oil level, make sure we're good there. Now we'll go ahead and load the car up, and I'll see you guys at the track. So we finally made it down to the track here at CNS. We showed up pretty late, so we were only able to make our attempt at one final practice session. We were only able to run about 6 laps based on the time we showed up and how we were rushing. And then we ended up qualifying 24th with a 19.4, which has been our best qualifying effort of the year so far. But unfortunately, I didn't get any of that on footage at all because we were just scrambling to get the car out of the trailer and onto the track. So here we have the outside footage of our dash, which didn't go super well because we're still fighting the car with an issue that we're having where it's breaking up on throttle, and unfortunately it's not something that seems to be remedied pretty easily unless we're warming the car up pretty significantly. So for our main, we were able to fix that issue. We ended up swapping out a coil. It didn't completely go away, so we think it's the red box, but it did subside quite a bit for us to allow to compete with the rest of the cars. Our feature was pretty eventful. We couldn't even make it a lap before a couple of folks went around in front of everyone and we had to check up. Luckily we were able to restart and got no damage from that, so everyone restarted exactly where they started that initial lap and tried to go on from there. So our restart here is pretty okay. Obviously the 17 found the room and was able to clear himself low, no problem. We obviously need to get a little bit better at sticking with everyone else and trying to stay bumper to bumper, especially for these restarts, since if we were to be not dead last like we usually are, then it usually spreads out pretty quickly, and I don't want to be the car at fault for that. But you can see we're getting quite a few laps in now. It is pretty busy back here towards the rear of the field. Nothing too serious, just got to stay on your toes, make sure you're not running each other over, and continuing to move forward as best as you can. The feature is actually where we got our best time of the night at a 19.3. I'm pretty happy with that time considering our issue right now and how much we don't know the car yet. Again, this is only our 3rd race out ever with this car, and you know, it's our first season in the car, so we obviously still have a lot to learn and are going to continue learning for as long as we race it. So I mentioned that things get pretty busy here towards the rear of the field, and that's kind of just by nature of us being slower cars. And when lap traffic comes around, we start getting those faster cars kind of stuck back here. You can see the orange car up there is making a ton of moves to get up closer to the front again after being sent to the rear. The rear is not always the best place to be, and we're trying our best to get out of it. I think right now we're limited by our car capability, and we just don't know a ton about setup. But you can see right here, I felt like we had a pretty decent run into the corner. I felt like we had our wheel at the door of the 97. Unfortunately, we couldn't go any lower without going just straight up onto the apron into the rumble strips. I felt like the 97 continued to come down, and we made contact and spun around, causing a caution. The car didn't feel damaged from it, so I didn't have any ill will towards the 97 from it. It was just one of those things where they don't have a mirror on their left side. Not entirely sure if they're running a spotter either, so we just made contact, spun around, and unfortunately made the rest of the car slow down, but the car felt fine to continue, and we restarted with no issue. Now for the last couple of laps, we were actually right on the bumper of this 95 car right in front of us, and we were making a couple of good runs off the corners and thought we had the speed to get there to poke our nose in a little bit, but I didn't want to take too many unnecessary risks now that we were already caught up in a caution earlier, and there's no reason to since the white flag's out now. Obviously, there's a little bit of a wreck here in turn 2, and we had to check up, and the caution came out, so we weren't technically able to finish the last lap. But overall, I'm pretty happy with how the car performed. Obviously, as it warmed up to the performance temperature, as I would say, that fuel breaking up issue seemed to go away. It's not completely gone. Sometimes I'll feel it inside the car, but it's not audibly. You can't audibly hear it, so we'll try and see if a new red box will fix our issue, or if it's just the coil packs, or maybe the motor's just bad, or it's something fuel related or something. But we've got, everything from new pumps to new electronics, so I really don't think it's anything there. I think it could just be a tired motor or whatnot, but hopefully by next year we'll be able to have a Z09 car now that the T09 is out. And a lot of people should be selling off either their motor swaps for pretty cheap or just selling whole cars. But that was the end of our feature. We're going to roll it back up into the pits, which I say at the end of every video is always a good day. And, can't get better than that for us right now, considering our skill level and where we are in the car. So now we just got to load her up, strap her down, and get her home. So obviously our car's back here in the garage in one piece and it's still drivable. We were able to drive it in. Unfortunately, we were caught up in quite a bit of messes at the track. Not the end of the world, as we were able to continue on racing and nothing really affected us too much. We're already going ahead and draining all the fuel out of our carbs so that nothing sits in the bowls overnight too long, and hopefully continues to make our carbs last as long as possible. There's most definitely a couple more changes that I want to make. Primarily our ride height issue right now. All 4 of our corners are above 4 inches off the ground, and I really want to fix that up. I think our left front and our right rear are both at 4.5 inches, which basically makes us a monster truck out there. Maybe it'll help us turn a little bit better, because ideally I don't want the car super tight like we were in the dash, but I also don't want to drop our right front pressure so much that we just completely wear out our right side tire and not have enough for the season. I know that these tires last quite a while, and we obviously haven't ran a bunch of races, but I still want them to last as long as possible, even if we do use our race set right here as a practice set, just so that we can get as many laps out of them as we can. It seems like the shims for our valve lashing helped out quite a bit. Seems like it gave us a little bit more now that we're able to run 19.3s. We're still having a little bit of an issue when we first start practice, where the motor seems like it's breaking up a little bit until we clear it out and get it up to temp. But overall, I think our Saturday was pretty good. Definitely made a lot of progress, and we're able to keep up in the 19s. Obviously, when you put the feature together for all the cars, it creates quite a bit of chaos, and that track is just, although it's a 3/8 mile, it's not big enough for all those tiny legend cars on the same track where there's a lot of impatience. But other than that, nothing new. The car seems to be in working order. None of our bars are bent over here. Even the trailing arms and anything underneath the car are still completely straight. So yeah, felt like our weekend was pretty good. Still looking to make those changes, and hopefully the next time we go out there will be even better than this time. I want you guys to keep in mind that we're starting the season off with little to no experience with these cars at all. The only thing we knew was what we were watching at the tracks when we would race locally. So this is a huge learning curve for us, and we're trying our best to keep up. Now we're starting to stick with the main pack, so that's obviously progress for us. We're trying to get faster and faster every week, and appreciate you guys watching, and I hope to catch you in the next one.